फाइल
ये गजब सर, आपका वेबकैम दिख रहा है हमको,
हाँ।
आई कैन सी ये, बट आपका फेस नहीं दिखा।
वेबकैम अभी
हाँ,
अभी
आ गया।
हाँ अभी ऑन किया
हाँ,
मैंने।
yes, अभी आप दिख रहे हैं,
अभी दिख
अभी
रहा हूँ
पूरा
मैं?
ऐसे के ऐसे चलेगा। यस सर,
अच्छा,
यस।
अभी
आप
मेरे
दिख
को
रहे हैं,
मेरी
आपका
स्लाइड्स
प्रेजेंटेशन,
दिख रही है।
आपकी स्लाइड तो आनी चाहिए ना
हेलो,
सर। नीचे दिख रही है, हमको तो दिख रही है सर स्लाइड्स, आपको भी दिखनी चाहिए वहीं के वहीं। मी एक काम करतो सर, मी तुम्हाला व्हिडिओ कॉल लावतो, तुम्ही तुमची स्क्रीन दाखवा मला,
बरं,
व्हॉट्सअप व्हिडिओ कॉल है ना।
ठीक 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 आहे. हा
सर तुमची स्क्रीन दाखवा।
हो, दिसतंय?
अच्छा, हा तुमचं पूर्ण म्हणजे फेसच दिसतोय, तुम्हाला तुमचा पीपीटी दिसत नाहीये।
मला
सर,
तू दिसतोय.
हा बरोबर आहे, पण तुमची स्क्रीनवर फक्त मी आणि तुम्ही दोन्ही एकमेकांना पाहतोय, मला वाटते आपण, तुमचं प्रेझेंटेशन दिसत नाही।
हो, तर काय करू?
सर तुमची स्क्रीनच्या लेफ्ट साइडचा ना कॉलम दाखवा मला, लेफ्ट साइड
हा,
तिथे तुमचा तो म्हणून एक ऑप्शन असेल सर, शो युअर स्क्रीन नावाचा एक ऑप्शन असेल सर। तर हे पहा, माझ्या मोबाईल मध्ये दाखवतो मी तुम्हाला, हे पहा, स्क्रीनवर असा ऑप्शन आहे का पहा, हा इथं वरती, हा वाला, हे 4 असे ऑप्शन दिसतात का?
हो, दिसतात आहे.
हा, त्याच्यात ते शो स्क्रीनचा जो ऑप्शन आहे सगळ्यात पहिला, हा वाला शो स्क्रीन,
एक पॉज आहे, एक गिव्ह कंट्रोल आहे,
शो वाला एक ऑप्शन असेल, प्ले ऑप्शन, प्ले बटन आहे त्याच्यावर, शो ऑप्शन असेल एक,
प्ले बटन नाही आहे रे.
शो स्क्रीन वाला ऑप्शन नाही आहे तुमचा? मला तुमची स्क्रीन दाखवा ना सर, अशी जवळून
दिसतंय का?
थोडं अनक्लिअर आहे, थोडं ते स्क्रीनचे ऑप्शन दाखवा सर.
दिसतात आहे?
थोडं नाही ना सर, नाही क्लिअर. मी माझा वेबकॅम बंद केलाय, तर हे वरती दिसायला पाहिजे. तर हे वरती
साईडला आहे, साईडला हे आहेत, हे
तिथं असेल सर एखादा ऑप्शन तुम्हाला,
साईड कंट्रोल,
जसं माझ्या लॅपटॉप मध्ये इथे आहे सर, पहा हे
आहे.
सगळ्यात वरती शेअरिंग,
हा, आला. हो,
येस सर, नाउ वी आर सीइंग यू,
अच्छा, मला मी दिसत नाही आहे ना?
नाही सर, आम्हाला मी सगळे तुम्हाला पाहणार आहोत.
बरं
आम्ही कोणी दिसणार नाही.
बरं, याच्यामध्ये हा एक हे आलेला आहे, लिव्ह ऑर एंड वेबिनार. ये
करू नका सर, ते शेवटी करायचं आपल्याला.
नाही तर हे याला क्लोज करू का? हा, कॅन्सल करू ना?
कॅन्सल करून टाका सर.
हा,
हो,
ठीक आहे. ओके,
seeing you online.
हा,
We will start your presentation now.
नाही मला सांग की आता shall I wear my earbuds?
येस सर तुम्ही
Oh.
लॅपटॉपला लावून घ्या आणि इयरबड लावून घ्या.
बर एक मिनिट. हा मी लावले आहेत आता.
आपण मोबाईल बंद करून बोलू सर.
हो ठीक आहे
याच्यावर वेबिनारवर बोलून पाहू.
ठीक आहे ठीक आहे.
हॅलो
Hello.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ha. Okay, so we have Gajbia sir online. We also have Rahate sir. Rahate sir. Rahate sir. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Rahate sir
हा हॅलो.
होते आता online. हा Rahate
नाही
sir
नाही
पण
मी
आहे.
आहे.
ओके सर तुम्हाला दिसतंय ना स्क्रीन वगैरे सगळं?
हो दिसतंय अगदी बिलकुल परफेक्ट दिसतंय.
ठीक आहे सर एक मिनिट बस. एक सेकंद मी इथं विचारून घेतो एखाद्याला कोणाला दिसतंय का सगळं बरोबर क्लिअर. आतिश सर माइक अनम्यूट कीजिए प्लीज. आतिश बंसोड सर.
Hello, Yogesh.
Are you seeing the
Hello.
presentation? And yeah, are you seeing the
I am seeing the
presentation?
presentation, Yogesh, but
Gajbia sir?
Gajbia sir नाही दिसता आम्हाला स्क्रीनवर.
नाही पण
Hello.
प्रेझेंटेशन दिसतंय ना अतिश?
गज-
हो प्रेझेंटेशन दिसतंय पण जसं अगोदर आपल्याला गजबे सर म्हणजे
अरे गजबीया
प्रेझेंटर
सर तर
आणि
दिसायला पाहिजे
प्रेझेंटेशन वेगवेगळं गजबे सर दिसायला पाहिजे ना. गजबे सर दिसत नाही आहेत.
मला काही करावं लागेल का योगेश इकडनं माझ्याकडनं?
हॅलो योगेश.
हो ते दिसतायत ऍक्च्युली दिसायला पाहिजे.
सुबोध गुप्ता सर काही म्हणतायत.
हॅलो योगेश. आय कॅन सी
तर
बोथ.
एकदा तुमच्या ऍक्च्युली
अच्छा गुप्ता सरांना
हा, गुप्ता सर.
दोन्ही दिसतात
Yes.
आहे.
हा
Okay,
this is
you
what
are
I
seeing
wanted
both
to
na?
give a feedback. Yes. The GMC building and Raj both.
Okay, chalo ठीक है फिर. Now we will start our webinar today. Yeah. So good evening everyone. As we are continuing with our webinars, this is the third session we are conducting today. Today we have our head of department Dr. Raj Gajbia sir with us, who will be speaking on transoral endoscopic thyroidectomy, that vestibular approach on that. So we have three panelists today. Dr. Subodh Gupta sir, Dr. Prashant Rahate sir, and Dr. Atish Bansod sir, who are our panelists today. So we will be starting the webinar.
Your voice has disappeared, Yogesh.
Gupta,
Sir, can you hear me? Gupta sir,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, hello Raj.
I think we should start.
We can. Yeah, Raj. Please go ahead. Go ahead with your
So
presentation.
shall I start it?
Yes boss. चालू कर दो.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, you are audible.
Absolutely.
Audible.
Yeah, thank you so much. With the permission of the chairpersons, I welcome you all for this webinar, and the topic of my presentation is transoral endoscopic thyroidectomy and vestibular approach. Now, this is a very new approach which has come up in last few years, one can say. So before going to it, I'll just mention about some history of thyroid surgery. It was Robert Liston in 1846, and he has called thyroid surgery as a preceding by no means to be thought of. Even one should not have thought of doing a thyroid surgery. And here is one, Dr. Samuel Gross in 1848, who has wrote that can the thyroid in the state of enlargement be removed? And he said that every stroke of knife will be followed by a torrent of blood, and lucky it would be for him if he's victim, and he's calling patients as victim, as his victim lived long enough for him to finish his horrid butchery. No honest and sensible surgeon would ever engage in it. That is what he has said in 1848. But just after that, in 1841 to 1917, here is the father of thyroid surgery, Cocker, who has won the Nobel Prize for the work done by him in thyroid surgery. So having said that, as far as the open thyroidectomy is concerned, we know that open thyroidectomy requires so much of incisions. These incisions are always visible there on the neck, and they heal with a scar. And there is so much of dissection which is involved. Like you can see here, the strap muscles are to be incised and they are to be retracted. All the flaps are to be retracted, and then the thyroid is exposed in a better way. So always this scar, you do whatever fine surgery, this scar is always a problem. And usually these patients, these are female patients. They are of young age, and cosmesis means a big value for them. So what can be the better way to minimize or prevent these neck scars? So probably endoscopic thyroidectomy has come in vogue, and this can help the patients by giving the patients no scar. So let's come to see how the minimally invasive surgery it has evolved. In 1996, Gagner was first a person who described the endoscopic subtotal parathyroidectomy, and you can see from here the many of the neck incisions are here, and then directly small 5 mm incisions were given over the neck. And in 2002, Mikoli was the first person to do an endoscopic thyroid, whereas in 2002, Ballantyne described the transoral endoscopic, not transoral, but a thyroid. He has done neck dissections with minimally invasive methods. So coming to the next slide. This is the evolution of minimal invasive thyroid surgery from traditional surgery, which has a horizontal incision is given over the neck. Then people have come up with a mini incision there, and then there was no neck scar but hidden scars elsewhere. Say for example, here you can see there are axillary area, there is a hidden scar. So transaxillary approach, and gradually there was a scarless surgery for no incision surgery for thyroid. So this is how the evolution has come up for thyroid surgery. People, they have tried in 2002 the axillary breast approach, and then in 2007 a bilateral axillary breast approach was done, and then a unilaterally breast approach was done, and this was the transaxillary approach. And then again a retroauricular approach was taken, where they have given an incision behind the ear, and they have approached the thyroid. Of course, it was a gasless approach, and then came the vestibular approach, transoral approach. So then came the notes from for which the surgeons have started doing node surgery by a transgastric route, a transgastric cholecystectomy, and a transvaginal or a transrectal route of doing cholecystectomies and some other appendicectomies and some other organs. So nodes was always scarless, and it was through the natural orifices, avoiding any external incisions or the scars. And then came the Notes Thyroid, and Notes Thyroid people have started doing the sublingual approach, and then even they have tried in cadavers about the transtracheal approach. So they have gone through the trachea to remove the thyroid, and gradually a vestibular approach has come for thyroid. We are going to see one by one how these approaches were done for thyroid surgeries. So there was the first report on humans of transoral thyroid and parathyroid surgeries by Caracas from Germany, who has done in 10 living pigs and human cadavers, few human cadavers, and that was for the patient of parathyroid adenoma, and a single incision at the lateral. They have always gone from the floor of the mouth, and there was a gasless rigid cervicoscope, and then there was they concluded finally, and which has come in the journal also, and their conclusion was the transoral partial parathyroidectomy was a nonsense procedure, and with the currently available devices. So then come again thyroidectomy from the natural orifice has come from Germany, where he has approached from the floor of the mouth with CO2 insufflation technique. And this is, you can see here the floor of the mouth, and he has approached it from the floor of the mouth, but then again the saliva dribbles from here, and then there were certain complications. So finally endoscopic minimally invasive surgery has come, and then there were no scars over the neck. From the floor of the mouth, the incisions were all healed very nicely, but then they have many of the complications, like many of the cases were converted to open. There was incidences of permanent recurrent laryngeal nerve injury. There was stitch abscesses, and then patients developed a mediastinal emphysema and then transient mental nerve injuries. So with all these complications, that has never come up, this transoral, but through the floor of the mouth. And here was the man, Mr. Angakun Anwang, who is from Bangkok, Thailand, and he has reported first 60 human cases by transoral thyroid, but through a totally different approach. And that approach was a vestibular approach. So that was important landmark in this thyroid surgery. Now, what are the important features of transoral endoscopic thyroidectomy? A vestibular approach was. It was a truly node surgery. It was truly scarless. It had short incisions, and the distance traveled as compared to the transaxillary or the the breast approach, ABA or BABA approach, the distance was very short, and it was a truly midline procedure, and where a total thyroidectomy can be achieved, and even bilateral neck dissections can be achieved with a very typical vision, which was up to down. I'll show you the vision also, how the vision was looking. So before going to that, there is an important important step which every surgeon should know before going ahead with a transoral thyroidectomy. That is the surgical anatomy of the mental nerve. Now the mental nerve emerges at the mental foramen, and it divides in two branches, upper and the lower branch. One descends to the skin of the chin, and two branches ascends to the skin and mucous membrane of the lower lip. So if you are not in a proper place, your incisions, so there are chances of injury to this nerve, and there can be paresthesia to the lower lip. So therefore, the anatomy of the mental nerve must be in your mind whenever you start doing the transoral thyroidectomies. Now, these are the port placements to avoid the mental nerve injury. You can see here a central incision of 10 mm has to be taken, and just a line perpendicular drawn to the from the canines. Two lateral 5 mm ports are to be taken, and the incision should be vertical. You can see here the mental nerve. You are much away from the mental nerve, so that the injury to the mental nerve does not occur. So that is important, and this is what I say is the top to down approach. So sorry, up to down approach. Here you can see, once you you create a space, you can see a good tunnel, a good space. Here you can see the carotid artery. Here you can see the nerve. You can here is the thyroid lobe is retracted laterally, and such a, you can see here the strap muscles. So that this particular view is important, and you can get this view only in a transoral approach. You cannot get this view in transaxillary or BABA or ABA approach. So this is the most important advantage. You are in the center, you are coaxial, and both your hands are working well. Whereas in other approaches which are distant from the thyroid, you do not get this particular view. So this is a very important view of up to down view. So coming to the indications, if the patient has history of hypertrophic scarring, or the patient is motivated enough to avoid a cervical neck incision, these patients should be taken for transoral thyroidectomy. You cannot do large thyroids with this particular approach. You have to select the patients, the thyroids which are less than 6 centimeters initially, but then now the reports have come with experience. People have removed up to 10 centimeters of the thyroid, but initially you must select your cases, the size of the thyroid which should be less than 6 centimeters. And you can go for these thyroidectomies for benign lesions. Hemithyroidectomies or total thyroidectomies can be done for multinodular goiters if the indeterminate nodule is there in the thyroid. And even now the indications are coming where there are suspicious lesions for thyroid carcinomas which are less than 2 centimeters. Right? So if the thyroid malignancies which are less than 2 centimeters are there, then you can even use this approach for going ahead with a thyroid surgeries. There are certainly contraindications for this surgery. If there is a previous history of head and neck surgery, and if there is a history of irradiation, these patients are not to be taken for thyroid for a transoral approach. The patients who are unable to tolerate general anesthesia, these patients are not to be taken for this approach. If there is evidence of hyperthyroidism, these patients are also contraindicated for the surgery. But now less than the small nodules or toxic nodules also are being taken if the patient is nicely prepared. So, and some newer indications are also coming down. So if there are some infections in the oral cavity like abscesses, and if there is substernal thyroid extension, these patients are not to be taken for transoral thyroid surgery. Whereas some relative contraindications can be smoking and other oral pathology, and morbid obesity is a relative contraindication which makes where the necks are short and there's too much of fat. These are the relative contraindications for this thyroid surgery, for transoral thyroid surgery. Now, these are the important steps. The patients should be administered antibiotics pre-operatively. A standard 10 mm 30-degree laparoscope is used, allowing top to down visualization. There we do insufflation, but the insufflator should be the pressure should not be more than 6 millimeter of mercury. Otherwise, there are then chances of gas embolism, because in neck there are many veins and vessels are there. So use judiciously the pressure. The strap muscles are separated, superior pole dissected. The parathyroids are nicely identified and preserved. And if you wish to do a total thyroidectomy, the operation is performed in the same manner on the contralateral side. So these are some instrumentations which are used for creating a space in the neck. So I'm going to show you the video. So initially we started with Hagar's dilator because we did not have many of the instrumentations, and then we came up with the idea of using this Beck's dilator, which has a smooth olive tip, which will not injure the important vessels. So even a Beck's dilator can be used, but then now we have come up with this olive tip instrument and a rigid instrument of 45 centimeters in length, and now we are creating a space with this particular instrument. And these are the regular laparoscopy instruments which are to be used for this surgery with a 30-degree scope. As far as the energy sources are concerned, we should have bipolar in one hand and a ligature in the right hand. So at times, if there is any bleeding, and this particular instrumentation, they do give a bloodless surgery. Now, as far as the OT setup is concerned, the surgeon stands at the head end of the patient. You can see, and at the foot end, the monitor is there. So you can see the anesthesia machine totally on one side, and the surgeon is, the position of the surgeon is totally at the head end of the patient, and the screen monitor is at the foot end of the patient. Now, having said this, there is this is the patient position which is to be taken. The full extension of the neck is required. There is total nasal intubation has to be done. We want the oral cavity free of any tubes or any other things. You can see the head is to be stabilized by a sticking plaster here, so that the head should not move while you do some manipulations. And you can see here, I am creating a space by giving an incision, and then this particular dilator goes, and you need to have the chin and the suprasternal notch at one particular plane. And once this is achieved, this is how the picture looks like. The upper 10 mm scope is going there, and two lateral instruments which the surgeon handles, and then the surgery goes on. So as far as the procedure per se is concerned, I just like to show you the video. I hope this video runs properly with this. Are you getting the video there? Hello? Hello?
Nicely.
Yes, we are
Are you
seeing the
getting
video.
there? Is the video
Yes.
running? Gupta
is,
sir,
Yes, it is
Prashant,
running.
is the video running?
Yes, yes, it is running.
Okay.
It's not very
So
smooth.
this is how,
It's running.
okay. So this is how the space is to be created, and you are there in the midline. You can see the sternal notch there. This is the these are the border, posterior border of the sternomastoid, and then I am there in the midline, and see, I am incising the fascia. And once I have incised the fascia, these are the strap muscles which you can see here, and I am there in the midline. And gradually, after giving some traction, you can see how the thyroid pops up gradually. There is a little bit of more light there, but it will disappear soon. So this is how the thyroid lobe pops up, and once it pops up, then you can see here externally I am introducing a needle, and by a simple simple needle holder, and this with the laparoscopic needle holder I am taking this needle out from the skin, and thus this retraction of the strap muscles can be achieved, and then you can have a good visualization of the thyroid lobe. Now I'm starting from the isthmus of the thyroid. Can you see this? This is the midline. This is the isthmus of the thyroid, right? And gradually I am in front of the trachea, and then you can see here the trachea is. And now you can see the thyroid lobe from the posterior aspect. The Berry's ligament are to be incised, and you can see here the trachea, and now the thyroid superior pole of thyroid is coming in the view. In my left hand I am holding the superior pole of the thyroid, and we have to remain near the thyroid capsule. You can see here the superior pole of the thyroid. Is the picture clear there?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
clear
yes.
enough to make out.
Okay, and this is the superior pole. I have taken down the superior polar vessels of the thyroid, and gradually I am separating it, and probably now the nerve is coming in the view. Right now here you can even see you have to separate the parathyroid very properly, and now here you can see here the parathyroid can be seen lower down, just above. Yes, can you see the parathyroid here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And the parathyroids are to be preserved, and then the parathyroid is nicely preserved here, and then you can see the recurrent laryngeal nerve coming in the view. It can be seen very clearly, and we always do intraoperative nerve monitoring and just remain near to the thyroid tissue, and you will never injure the. Can you see now the thyroid, the recurrent laryngeal nerve? Here you can see the recurrent laryngeal nerve, the superior and the inferior branch of the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It is lying here, and you should be near to the thyroid and away from the recurrent laryngeal nerve. And the specimen is totally dissected. It is put in an endo bag, and now it is coming from the vestibule. And here you can see again the recurrent laryngeal nerve, the superior and the inferior branch. And now I am closing down the strap muscles. The strap muscles can be closed down totally. And usually if there is no bleeding, we usually do not keep a drain there. So having seen that video, these are another videos. I'll just run through it. See the picture, how nicely the superior polar vessels can be seen, and these vessels can be very easily, very nicely taken. And the parathyroids, you can see they're lower down, they are coming in the view. And there's another video which can be seen here, which can show good dissection there, and the parathyroids which are now coming in the view. Here, there, these parathyroids are there, and gradually they are to be taken down, and their blood supply is again not to be hampered. You have to remain near to the thyroid capsule, and then you can certainly prevent the recurrent laryngeal nerve injury. And gradually you can see the recurrent laryngeal nerve coming in the view here, and we have to see whether this is, and this is the branch of the inferior thyroid artery which goes posterior to the recurrent laryngeal nerve. So we always do, these are the nerve monitoring these things, and I'll just show you how do we do nerve monitoring. We have a nerve monitor, and we do the we identify the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Needle goes there inside, and gradually you can just see the movements of the intrinsic muscles of the larynx. Can you see this? Can you see the movement of the muscles?
Yes, yes.
Yes, these muscles are moving. So, and before that, you have to tell the anesthetist to so that they will not give muscle relaxants. So, the effect of the weaning of the muscle relaxants are to be done, uh, and we have this fluorescence imaging now with a pinpoint system with us, and so that nicely the parathyroids can be identified and they can be separated. The thyroid vessels also can be seen very nicely. The parathyroid vessels also can, their blood supply can be very well preserved. The parathyroids can be seen by this fluorescence imaging, and it certainly helps if you have these facilities. Finally, the incision is closed. It looks like this, and this mucosa heals within few days. The patient is there next day on oral, and these are the, we do give some compression bandages here, so that subsequently there should be some external compression, so that there should be no seroma formation. This is the picture day post-op day 2 of this patient, and this is how the patient looks with no incision, absolutely no incision over the scar, and the scar over the lower lip is totally healed. Well, post-operatively, we start the patient on oral diet. On day 2, there are pressure dressings. We shift the patients on oral antibiotics, augmentin, serratiopeptidase, and the patients are usually discharged on the 3rd day. Having said that, there are certain complications with this procedure. There is mild subcutaneous emphysema in the post-operative period. There are chances of pneumomediastinum and pneumothorax in these patients. There are chances of recurrent laryngeal nerve paralysis. There are chances of hypoparathyroidism, mental nerve injury. There can be some hematoma formation, some seroma formation, CO2 embolism, and local infections can be certain complications in these patients. I'll just share a small experience of ours with you. Till now, we have done by this approach total 37 thyroid patients, and we have operated with this approach 6 parathyroid cases. But with transaxillary and the transaxillary approach, we have done more number of cases than this. We have recently started, but then we have still a small number of 37 thyroidectomies and 6 parathyroidectomies. We have done about 29 hemithyroidectomies and 8 total thyroidectomies. The operative time which was required initially from 1st to 5th case was 121 minutes, and gradually the learning curve has come down, and now the average operating time for these cases remains to be 52 minutes, or at the maximum 1 hour. We finish up this surgery. The average age was 34, and the average size of the gland was approximately 5 centimeters, and the average hospital stay was 2.37 days. We had complications. We had transient hypoparathyroidism, which was resolved in 2 to 3 weeks in 2 cases. We had recurrent laryngeal nerve neuropraxia initially with transient hoarseness in 3 patients, which was again resolved in 1 to 2 weeks. And the surgical site infection in 1 patient, a temporary mental nerve palsy in 1 patient, subcutaneous emphysema in 9 patients. We have hematomas and seromas in few patients. So these are the complications which we have came across, and there are certainly some advantages of endoscopic thyroidectomies. The visualization is certainly high definition. There is much more magnification of the critical anatomy, like the recurrent laryngeal nerve and the parathyroids, which in open surgery might not be even nicely visible that much. There is focused lighting and clarity of the tissues, and of course there are best of the cosmetic results and functional outcomes in these patients. And Certainly, there are some disadvantages. There is lack of direct palpation and manipulations of the tissues of the thyroid gland. There is a small working place, and initially there is a longer operative time. There is minimum bleeding can obscure your operative field, and then there can be multiple scars in case of conversion if you decide to convert this patient for completion thyroidectomy. These are the few hospitals in Southeast Asia, mainly in Taiwan, Philippines, South Korea, and China, where they are doing it. Of course, Thailand is the father of this transoral surgery. Toetwa is there. Dr. Angakun Anuang at Bangkok, Thailand, and he has trained many surgeons there. And now it is an established surgery. Now even the papers are coming from the various continents, like in US, from Latin America, and from various parts globally. And now people have done many of the cases, and now it is an established procedure to do thyroidectomies. And in print media, it has come now that this particular surgery might be the game changer for as far as thyroid surgery is concerned in the future. So to conclude, given a choice, patient always choose a way without any cosmetic compromise. And these patients, surgery can be offered by this approach. If we can achieve similar results as open approach, then cosmetic results is an additional benefit to these patients. The endoscopic techniques offer a magnified view and a light that permit a safe dissection. The potential advantages of endoscopic techniques are better cosmetic results, decreased hospital stay, and better patient comfort. And TOETWA must be proposed in carefully selected patients. So thank you so much for a patient hearing, and I know there will be many questions, so I'm eager to answer them. Were you able to see the presentation and hear my voice clearly and see the videos?
Perfectly,
Excellently.
perfectly.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. There was no interruption like we have seen yesterday.
None, not at all.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now I invite the questions. I do not know. I am new to this, but how do they raise the hands? And but then Yogesh and Prashant and Gupta sir and Atish, you are there to help me by asking questions, or whosoever is asking question, you can just redirect the questions to me.
Yeah, Yogesh, please take over.
Yeah. So, sir, first a panelist. If you have any questions or any comment on that.
I have.
Yeah.
I have a
Yes, sir.
question.
Yes.
Most often these surgeries are unilateral. Is that so?
No.
Most
You can
often.
do. See, you are in
No.
the center.
In your case. Well, I'll ask directly. You said there was an element of hypothyroidism in a few cases transiently.
Yes.
If the surgery was unilateral, why did it happen?
No, hypoparathyroidism.
Hypoparathyroidism. Yes.
Yes,
Hypoparathyroidism.
transient hypoparathyroidism.
Yes.
We encountered transient hypoparathyroidism, transient.
Yeah, I'm talking about that only, hypoparathyroidism.
Yeah. It was hypoparathyroidism.
Yes. Why?
Okay.
How do you explain that in unilateral surgery?
Transient. Is that so, sir?
In unilateral surgery, why did it happen? Did you get any explanation on that?
Hypoparathyroidism can happen even by handling the parathyroids, right?
I agree.
So
I agree.
there can be some dysfunction of the parathyroids. There can be some vessels supplying the parathyroid vessels, which can go in spasm. there can be some even by handling the parathyroids might go in some dysfunction which improves later on.
Yeah, I do appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
It was really mesmerizing, Raj sir. Regarding that ICG view, how much amount of dye you are giving, and what is the timing of the dye injection?
Prashant, I think we are giving a few minutes. I think 1 minute before, because we want to see the vessels.
Yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
Really, if you ask me, really, I absolutely do not know how much of the amount my lecturers and my residents they do administer. They know in much better way. I think must be less than 1 ml or something like that. I do not know the exact amount, but I know probably a minute before we have to give the dye to visualize the vascular supply and to visualize the parathyroid.
Okay. And you are keeping 6 millimeter of pressure, mercury pressure,
Yes. Yes.
carbon dioxide pressure. So you must be having lot of problem for finding the space there.
That is the main thing. The space creation remains to be the main thing in performing this surgery. But what we do is, once you start dissecting beneath the platysma, you certainly get a space. And what we do is we give two skin sutures, not skin sutures. We take skin sutures over the neck, and we hold it with the sutures with the artery. So one assistant is holding the sutures so that some additional space can be created, right?
Like
But
lateral lift you are taking.
yes, some lift, but then that lift is only with some silk 20 silk sutures.
Okay. And that about that transcutaneous nerve stimulation, it is the
Yes.
same one which the anesthetist used for the brachial plexus, this thing, or it is different one?
Yes, that is the same one. But then there are many other gadgets, where you can achieve nerve stimulation, and there are many. There are in fact gadgets of endotracheal intubation. There are certain endotracheal tubes which comes up with a nerve stimulator and nerve finder, and which can be connected externally to the nerve nerve monitor, and they can tell you about the recurrent laryngeal nerve.
And when exactly that TNS is to be done, when you are sure that this is the nerve, it is not to be used, I think. You have to.
No, sorry, I did not get you.
Okay.
I did not get you, Prashant.
When that TNS, that transcutaneous nerve stimulation is to be
Yes.
done, what is the indication of that?
No, in all the cases we do
In
not
all-
we do not do thyroidectomies without identifying the nerve and without doing a nerve stimulation. We have to confirm that this is the recurrent laryngeal nerve, then only go ahead with the surgery.
Okay. So,
Yes.
but when you are sure visually that it is the nerve, then also you go and
In
confirm.
spite of that, you have to demonstrate that this is a recurrent laryngeal nerve.
Okay.
You must have a nerve stimulator for this surgery.
3 of your patient had hoarseness of voice or partial recurrent.
Yes, transient hoarseness. See, what happens is once you start handling the nerves, you dissect it, you just separate it. There are certain patients who have thyroiditis where there is some more handling of the nerves, right? Some oozing, some bleeding, some handling of the nerves. In such cases, there can be some amount of neuropraxia. And
Okay.
if there is neuropraxia is there, then there can be some transient hoarseness of voice, which improves gradually. In these particular cases, we have also added steroids to the patient, but then till now, fortunately, we did not had any recurrent laryngeal nerve palsy.
So your anesthetist could tell you post-operatively while extubating that there is some
In
cord
each
palsy.
and every cases, we see the movements of the cord while extubating. And before that, we certainly confirm that this is a recurrent laryngeal nerve, and we have not injured the recurrent laryngeal nerve.
Great. It was really mesmerizing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think if there are any questions, Yogesh,
The
you might.
audience are open.
Yeah,
The
we have lot of
audience-
questions. I'll get audience one by one. So I request
Yeah,
audience,
please.
the person whose name I'm going to take now, I'll unmute his mic. The person should also unmute his mic, and also, if possible, show his face by starting off his webcam. The first question is
Okay,
from
that
Das
will be
Gupta.
great.
Yeah, first question is from Das Gupta, sir. Sir, I have
Yes, sir.
unmuted your mic. You can unmute yours from your laptop or mobile, and then yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. How are
Yeah.
you?
Yes,
Yeah.
Hello, Raj.
Sir,
I
Das
mean,
Gupta,
it
sir.
was an excellent presentation. Let me congratulate you first for the excellent video presentation.
Thank you so much.
Being the pioneer of this procedure, at least I am not sure. You must be in Vidarbha at least.
There are
Raj.
very few places in the country where it is being done.
Yeah, so it's a matter of pride for us. Now,
Thank you
my
so much.
question is, Raj,
Yes.
oral cavity, I mean, basic principles of surgery is that you don't go from an infected area to a non-infected area. Oral
Yes.
cavity is a potentially an infected area.
Yes.
So you are breaching or creating a passage or a conduit from an infected area to a non-infected area.
Yes.
So how do you justify the surgical principles of this procedure as far as prevention of sepsis is concerned?
Sir, theoretically, we are using a chlorhexidine mouthwash, and theoretically, we are considering that now the oral cavity is sterile. That is the only explanation which I can give. But then till now, we have never encountered any infections, and probably even worldwide also the literature is there. I mean, even the saliva does not go inside. And if you ask me, we are giving chlorhexidine mouthwash to the patient, and theoretically we anticipate that now it's a sterile area, so we are not introducing infection in it. That is the only explanation which I can give.
I think additionally there are 2 points in this. The sighting of incisions, which is about a centimeter away from the labiogingival sulcus, number one.
Absolutely.
And number 2,
It is not 1
antibiotics
centimeter,
compared to
sir.
the past.
It is just below the mucocutaneous junction of the lip.
This is exactly what I'm saying. This distance.
Yes.
And better antibiotics compared to the past.
Yes, and probably better antibiotics.
Sir, can I give some explanation?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead, Prashant.
Yeah, sir, the concept of node surgery, when we are going ahead with transcystic, transrectal, transgastric surgeries, so this barrier of mucosa is breached in all node surgeries, and the concept and the fear which was there to break that mucosal barrier has gone now. Even in transoral POEM and all these procedures, which have now become the standard of care for the various procedures, this concept of infection entering into a virgin area is gone. That fear is gone now.
Yes, I'm sure with the newer antibiotics and the wide range of antibiotics and oral prophylaxis, this must have been taken care of.
Yes.
And one more question, Raj. I mean,
yes, sir.
you are a medical teacher, a professor of a surgery in a medical institute.
Yeah.
If a question is asked to a final MBBS student, or as a matter of fact to a PG student in examination,
Yes.
about the type of surgery to be done, and if he answers transoral thyroidectomy, how much marks will you give him?
Certainly, we will be giving weightage. Sir, this is a procedure which very few people know, and if it can be taught in medical colleges, and if the residents can see all these procedures, it's much.
Raj,
I mean, they are very fortunate about.
The psychology behind this question is, the students have a mindset that they try to answer rarer questions first rather than giving common answers. You must have experienced this as an examiner.
Yes.
So, in say chronological order, if a student says, I will do a transoral thyroidectomy and maybe an open thyroidectomy at number 2 place, I mean, will you say he is right or wrong?
Certainly, if I am an examiner, I will certainly give weightage to him.
Well,
then,
it's a food for thought for all examiners. Anyhow, well done, Raj. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So
next question.
Next
Yogesh?
question is from Vasudev Ridorkar, sir. Ridorkar,
Yes.
sir.
Hi, Vasu. He is also there.
Yeah. Vasudev Ridorkar, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, Vasu, please go ahead.
Yeah, it was really a wonderful presentation and really an eye-opener for us. Being a urologist, my interest would be for parathyroid surgery. I have two questions. One is for the space creation. Can a balloon be used for sort of separating the planes?
Yes.
Like we have for retroperitoneal surgery.
Yes.
Some sort of balloon inserted after the initial base dilators. Would that help in creating the planes better?
Yes. Balloons are also described, but then I'll tell you something. See, a balloon used in a retroperitoneal region and a balloon used in a neck. In neck, the tissues are too tight. I'll tell you, while creating a space, especially in this transoral thyroid surgery, we have to go anterior to the mandible. There is a mental fascia there. It's a tremendously tough fascia, and we have to dilate it with an artery forceps to create a space, and then we have to go in the neck, and we inject saline there, and then we create a space. I am very much doubtful if balloons can separate these tough fascias. I mean, that would need too much of pressure, and I don't think they will be more effective.
Okay, sir. The next thing is, in case you need.
Can I answer that question? Vasu?
Yes, go ahead, Prashant.
Yes, Prashant.
Regarding this tough mental fascia, it is really very difficult to use balloon from that angle. But when Aba and Baba approach is taken, once you cross the
there you can use
it properly. Once you cross the clavicle, then that balloon can be used.
Okay, sir.
You can use balloon in transaxillary procedures. People are using it, but then as far as transoral procedures are concerned, balloon nobody has used balloons, and I doubt whether they can be useful in such tough fascias.
Okay, sir. Get your point. The next thing is, in case you need to put in a drain, where do you place it?
Yeah. If there is too much of dissection in total thyroidectomies, we can, I usually put in a drain. But if there is small nodule, all bloodless with all these newer gadgets, not a single drop of blood is there. In such cases, I never put in a drain. But then if there is too much of dissection, there is an element of thyroiditis and some inflammation there in the thyroid tissue where there is some more oozing, and in those cases I put in a minivac suction drain, you know, the tube is very small, or even one tube of Romovac suction drain can be put. But then if you ask me, in most of my cases, 90% of the times I do not put in a drain. Only 5 to 10% of the cases I must have kept the drains till now.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Some more questions, Yogesh?
Thank you, Ridorkar sir. Next question is from Qureshi sir. I request Qureshi sir to unmute his mic as well as to start his webcam also, so that we can see you. Qureshi sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
Yes,
can you
Abdul,
hear me?
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, Abdul.
Good evening, sir. Excellent presentation as always. I just nothing much to ask because not many people know about it. But what I want to ask is, the procedure you are doing, is it exactly the same as is being done by the Pioneer, or you have made some modifications?
No, no. It is exactly the same as being done by the Pioneer, Dr. Angkun Anuwang.
No, because
It is
I know
absolutely
you are quite creative, so I thought you must have added. I'm sure you will be adding a few things as you get the problems as you go along.
That dilator, you know, we have indigenously made that dilator with us.
Yeah,
That
that's what I
olive
mean.
tip
I thought
dilator. Yes,
that
I think
was
Dr.
a good idea.
Bhupesh and Dr. Hemant Bhanarkar, they have gone to Mominpura and they had got that dilator from some agency.
So finally, Mominpura came to the rescue. Sir, another thing I want to ask about drain. If you want to put a drain, how do you put it?
In case of drain, I just get that you know, this small. You must have seen the Minivac suction drain. So the stillet of that Minivac suction drain, we just introduce it from the supra. The drain comes from the suprasternal notch, or we can just put in our Maryland there, give a small incision and take the catch hold of the drain and get it inside at the level of suprasternal notch.
Okay. On a lighter note, I just want to say something. This Aba, Baba, and Tetwa, all the three seem to be of Indian origin.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you, Qureshi sir.
It is not Tetwa, it is Toetwa. Yeah.
The next question is from Dr. Mukund Thakur sir. Thakur sir, please unmute your mic. Thakur sir. Yeah, please unmute your mic, Thakur sir.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes,
you are
Mukund, you are very much
Yeah.
audible.
Raj, wonderful presentation, and we really loved this new kind of webinar to which we are not very accustomed to. But then it's a wonderful idea, Yogesh. I congratulate you for this. And
Same.
the question is,
all the congratulations to Yogesh and Prashant.
yeah. So the question is, you said you would like to use an energy source in the form of ligature. Can harmonic scalpel or bipolar cautery or bipolar cutting instrument be used in these cases?
Yes. Bipolar in
Because
one hand, I take my bipolar. In right hand, in left hand, I take my bipolar dissector. In right hand, I take either a ligature. Now, what has happened, Mukund, is 90% of the surgeons, they use harmonic in these cases. But now I am so much habituated to ligature that I have forgotten harmonic somehow. In all my dissections, in all my laparoscopies and other dissections, but it's only a question of habit or practice. Whatever way, whatever instruments you wish to use, you can.
Okay. And the second question is, if at all you are required to use a drain, can it be put through the same ports or 5 mm ports transorally?
No. They cannot drain from the vestibule, Mukund. They cannot. It has to be dependent. The drains,
Yeah,
the
but
drain
then you can
come
use
from
the
a
suction
different-
drain there, no? You are already using a mini vac. It's a suction drain. That is only to
Yeah, no,
avoid
no.
any kind of
I
scar.
am using Mukund. I am not
Yeah.
using Minivac. I am using the drain of Minivac. I'm not giving
Okay.
a negative pressure. I just keep that drain there and just apply a gauze piece surrounding that drain.
Oh, in case we use a negative
Minivac
suction
then.
on a
No, no,
tube,
पर वो
can
तो
it be put?
Mukund से लटकते रहेगा. You know,
नहीं तो
it will
वो
be
it is going to be there for only 48 hours at the max.
Yeah, that's true. But then we do not want any space to be open there, as Dasgupta sir said, that from an unsterile area you are going to we want that unsterile area to be closed down fast. But then, of course, what you are saying is correct. But then I think it will be cumbersome for the patient, and you know, if at all the drains are to be used, a small dot can be there. A small dot can be there in the suprasternal notch. But then, even if you do not want that dot, then probably what your idea is there, that can certainly work up. But then we have not used it till now.
Okay. And the next most important question is, if somebody wants to learn it, can we attend the live cases performed by you in your O2?
Please come, Mukund, anytime. All of you are anybody who wishes to learn is most welcome in my operation theater. At this point of time, I just want to share one particular thing with all the surgeons, that we surgeons are lagging behind in adopting and in knowing these new techniques. Let me tell you, there are ENT forums, there are ENT surgeons. Till now I have gone at 3 places in the country where ENT associations, they have invited me to demonstrate this particular procedure. And unfortunately, we at Surgeons Forum should try to learn. You should not be surprised if ENT people, they go ahead and they learn this transoral thyroid before general surgery.
Yeah, this technique could bring the thyroid surgery back to our kitty.
Yes, back to her. And now that is what we do not give importance to these surgeries. Therefore, it is landed up in ENT surgeon's hand. You know, the endoscopy has landed up in gastroenterologist's hand. So that is the reason probably we do not give importance to all these procedures, and therefore other people, they are taking up these surgeries.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Mukund sir,
yes.
On 4th and 5th of the June, the ENT Association has organized one ENT workshop in Nagpur.
Okay.
And that is in association with the ASI Nagpur, Association of Surgeons Nagpur.
Okay,
So
that's great.
There I think we will like to see Dr. Raj sir. We will request them to have this particular procedure there. It will be transmitted live from 7-star hospital to the Regenta Hotel. They are lining up more than 30 cases in 2 days. Various parathyroid, thyroid, parotid.
That's very good, Prashant.
Yes.
See, that is what I was sharing, that last in 2019, few days back, we had Amasikon. It was the first forum of surgeons where a transoral thyroid was shown. But then before that, there were many forums of ENT people where I had shown transoral thyroid. But then probably.
Sir, 1 minute.
Yes.
Can I take a minute? Sir, we will discuss the question and answers related to this. We will discuss all the topics in our group of WhatsApp.
Yes, please give priority to them.
Many people are in queue. I am very sorry to interrupt you like this. Thakur sir, you have any other question?
No. Please go ahead.
No. Thank you. I just one more question. When is the tomorrow's webinar going to be conducted?
Yeah, so Thakur sir has asked for tomorrow's webinar to be conducted at the afternoon around 4 or 5 p.m. So all the group members are here. We will do it tomorrow at 4 p.m. if everyone is okay. Thakur sir, yet?
No,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yogesh,
Yes, sir.
Yogesh, my suggestion is keep the time one particular slot so that people can be habituated for that slot, and then they you will get more number of audience. That is,
Yeah, sir,
my
actually
opinion.
tomorrow is Sunday. That's why sir has requested for afternoon time. Tomorrow it's Sunday. That's why. Otherwise, all are
I think that
in the 8 to 9.
since it is Sunday.
Okay. If tomorrow is Sunday, then we can think of afternoon. Yeah.
Otherwise, all our sessions
Yeah.
will be in
Question,
the 8
Yogesh.
to 9. Yeah. Question. Next question is from
Yeah,
Dr.
that will be
Prashant
better.
Bhaute sir. Prashant Bhaute sir.
Yes.
Prashant sir, I have unmuted your mic. Prashant sir, go ahead. Prashant Bhaute sir, I have unmuted your mic. Yeah. Prashant sir, you're online.
I
Yes,
think we can
Prashant, go ahead.
I
He
think
has
we can go to the next
Yeah,
question.
Sunit Sood sir. Sunit Sood sir, please ask your question.
Raj Gajbee sir, I just wanted to
Sunit,
clarify
I can hear
if
you.
yes sir, if a patient has oral submucous
It
fibrosis,
was not very
with
happy, but definitely I'm going to try this GoIT also.
hello,
I guess
Hello?
two people are talking. Prashant sir, 1 minute.
Hello?
Sunit Sood sir asking his question.
Hello?
I first
sir,
answer
if there is
Sunit's question.
Yeah, I have muted
sir,
him.
Yes, Sunit,
hello.
go ahead.
Sir, if a patient has a severe oral submucous fibrosis and significant trismus, will this procedure still be possible, sir? Because you're going through the lower lip, so I don't think it should not be possible. I think it should be possible. I just wanted an opinion from your side.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good question, Sunit. It does not have to do anything with trismus. See, there are two options. Otherwise, also we are going to do a nasal intubation, number one.
Yeah.
Hello? Right?
Yes, sir.
And it does not have to do anything with opening of the mouth. You can just go beneath the lip and anterior to the mandible. So it does not have to do anything with trismus, and the intubation is nasal. So yes, in case of a difficult nasal, nowadays we have a nasal endoscope also, through which the intubation can be done. So I don't think that will be a contraindication. So submucous fibrosis should not be a contraindication for this procedure.
And sir, similarly, if a patient has severe cervical spondylosis, so with giving a position for the thyroid, will it be a problem, sir?
Yes, no, that is a totally different. If the patient has cervical spondylosis, the vertebrae are fused, then certainly it is a contraindication, because you need a good neck extension.
Okay.
But your question was of submucous fibrosis, I think.
My first question was submucous fibrosis, and I mean, I wanted to know that when we are operating endoscopically through this approach, are there any significant movements of the neck during the procedure?
No, absolutely not.
No.
But then for this procedure to achieve, we need a good extension of the neck. If the patient has some problems with the cervical spine, better not to do it. Better to do an open surgery.
Right, sir. Okay.
Thank you, Sunit, sir. Yeah, Dr. Prashant sir, Prashant Bhaute sir, please go ahead. Prashant Bhaute sir, please go ahead.
I have to unmute. Yes. Am I connected now, Raj sir?
Yes, I can hear you, Prashant.
Hello?
I can hear you, Prashant.
Yes. Sir, it was a nice presentation. Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, few of the practical questions which I want to ask.
Yes.
Because
Go ahead.
done few transaxillary approaches. One thing is, the first question is, once the thyroid pops up, then the problem comes
Yes.
of retraction of the thyroid towards the medial side, if you really want to identify that recurrent laryngeal nerve or the parathyroids, because the space
It
is
has
limited in
always been
Toetwa, and with those two
Yes.
alignment of 5 millimeters, how do you do that the lateral lobe, the medial side retraction? Because
Prashant.
what has happened in transaxillary is I have changed my procedure from lateral retraction, because there is no retractor, you have to put another from the another side. Hello?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. Hello?
Sir, what has happened? Do you take the tracheal medial side of the thyroid first, or how do you medialize the lateral lobe of the thyroid?
Yes, I'll tell you. Now, Prashant, I have done almost
Hello?
70 odd cases of transaxillary thyroid. And now, last 37 cases of thyroid, I have shifted to transoral. Can you hear me, Prashant? Hello?
Yes, your voice is good. Your voice is good.
Yeah.
Am I audible to Prashant? I mean, Prashant Bhaute, not
Okay.
Prashant Raj. Okay. So, Prashant,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
now
Yes,
I
sir.
have shifted to transoral, and that is the advantage. That is what I have told in my presentation.
Yes,
That
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
you are
Yes, sir. I'm audible.
Yes, you are in the center. You cover a very small distance. In transaxillary, you have to travel. You have to cover a long distance. Moreover, you are in center. You are coaxial, and therefore it becomes very, very easy to handle the thyroid, to retract the thyroid, to see the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and the medial retraction has to be done. Once the thyroid is pops up, then the things become much more easy as compared to axillary approach in central approach in transoral approach, because we have a top to down view. That view carries much more important, right? So everything is there in front of your eyes. Am I clear to you?
Okay. Right. Right. Sir, one more question. How do you, hello? Hello?
Yes, yes, go ahead. Next question, Yogesh.
Yeah, Prashant sir had one more question, I guess.
Yes, but he is not
I think
audible
it's
now.
correct.
Prashant sir, you
No,
can
he
drop
is
a
connect-
message on WhatsApp group. Prashant sir.
It appears that his connectivity is less.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
Dr.
go ahead
Vikas
with the
Jain,
next.
sir.
Go ahead for
Dr.
this,
Vikas
next
Jain.
question to some other.
Yeah, Dr. Vikas Jain, sir.
Hello, Raj sir.
Yes, because
Hello.
I can hear you. How are you?
Good evening, sir. Sir,
Good
I am
evening.
fine, sir. Sir, I was fortunate that I have attended the operation during the Amasicon by this side.
Oh, yes, you are there. Yes,
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 sir.
yes.
Yeah. Sir, I have two questions. One is how to retrieve the specimen.
Yes. Because
Yes, sir.
I have till now I have shown it in many workshops, this particular transoral thyroidectomy, and
Yes, sir.
everybody is asking this particular question, that how you are going to remove this specimen. They are so much anxious about it. They want to know how this specimen is going to come out. So that is how I think I have shown it in the video. We use an endo bag. We put in the specimen in an endo bag, and from the 10 mm port, right?
Okay.
So from the 5 mm, we take a 5 mm telescope, and this 10 mm port, which is there in the center, we
Yes, sir.
remove the specimen from there. If it's a big specimen, we just dilate the track. Let me tell you, if it's a big
Okay.
specimen, we up to 5 centimeters, the specimen can be removed from the 10 mm port which we dilate the tract by an artery forceps, and the specimen certainly comes out. But people are doing transoral thyroid even beyond 5 centimeters, and if the thyroid is big in size, people are taking a transaxillary approach for that. An incision is given, a tract is created, and they again retrieve the specimen from the axilla. Doing
Okay, they
dissection
do the surgery through oral route and remove the specimen through axilla.
from axilla, but up to 5
Okay.
centimeters, all the specimens can be removed from the 10 mm port which we have taken.
Okay. Sir, one more question, sir. May
Yes,
I
yes.
ask, sir?
Yes, yes,
What
please
are
go ahead.
what are the danger signs during the surgery when we have to stop the surgery, or can we identify the bleeder or vascularity like anterior jugular vein?
Yes, that is the most and I mean, once it is there, your field becomes obscure, and then the danger signs are even there are chances of thromboembolism, right? As it is there with any of the laparoscopy, and
Okay.
but then you have to keep the pressure on 6 millimeter of mercury. Do not increase the pressure. And if any vein or if there is any bleeding is there, you have to immediately if there is some bleeder or vein has opened up, you have to immediately stop the procedure, and because then there are chances of air embolism. And then if there is severe hemorrhage of from any kind of carotid artery or something like that, then you have to immediately convert and take the steps. You have to abandon the procedure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vikas sir. Dr. Devendra Paturkar. Sir, your mic, please unmute your mic. Dr. Devendra Paturkar. Yeah.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, Paturkar sir, good evening. Very, very good evening.
Sir, very good evening. The first webinar I'm attending in my life. And a very excellent presentation of the newer methods
Thank
of
you.
thyroid surgery, sir. I only wish I had been a PG student right now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You can come down to learn the surgery anytime. But your schedule is so busy, Paturkar sir, that I don't think with this corona you must be tremendously busy. But just come to my
Sir,
OT
thank you very
sometime
much, sir.
after the corona is
Yeah.
over.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Right.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
Dr.
Next
Hemant
question.
Mhatre. Dr. Hemant Mhatre.
Yes,
Yeah.
please go ahead, Dr. Hemant.
Dr. Hemant Mhatre, please unmute your mic. So I guess he's not available. We have Dr. Ravindra
Okay,
Telkar, sir. Dr. Ravindra Telkar, sir. Please unmute your mic. Yeah.
Yes. Raj, excellent presentation as usual.
Thank you, Ravi. How are you?
I must congratulate you for the wonderful work you are doing in laparoscopic and endoscopic surgery at GMC Nagpur. One question I want to ask you:
Ravi.
This procedure meant only for benign swellings of the thyroid or not?
Hello?
Second thing, what is minimum size and maximum size of the thyroid nodule that you can operate with this method? Third is this procedure advocated for malignancy of the thyroid also, and what should be the criteria the malignancy should fulfill for this procedure, like local infiltration in which region or lymph nodal metastasis? Can you please tell me all these things?
I'll answer all of your questions one by one.
Yes.
Ravi, this procedure was initially started for benign lesions only.
Okay.
They did not operate any case which is approved when malignancy and thyrotoxicosis, right? Toxic nodules and hyperthyroidism. But then it was initially made only for benign lesions. The size is, if it is concerned, the size should always be less than 5 centimeters, And it can be a thyroid nodule, it can be benign region, it can be a multi-thyroid goiter. We can do thyroidectomies, we can do heavy thyroidectomies, we can do only excision of the nodules. With this procedure, we can do anything. The size should be less than 5 centimeters initially. But now, as the people are growing experience, then they are even Dr. Angakul Anuwang, who is father of this surgery, has gone up to 10 centimeters of removing the thyroid. So as your experience increases, probably you can achieve more and more size. Till now, we have gone up to 5-6 centimeters, but I have not yet operated a patient of 10 centimeters. I have even not operated a patient of malignancy till now by this particular approach. But then, as you must have seen in my presentation, now people have even started doing thyroid malignancies, which is less than 2 centimeters. Less than 2 centimeters. That is what they have said. And of course, with transoral route, now people have also started doing neck dissections, bilateral neck dissections. So, but then initially, when you start these surgeries, you should not choose malignancies. You should not choose patients who are having thyrotoxicosis. You should start with simple benign lesions, which are less than 5 centimeters.
Even in the malignancy, also less than 2 centimeter size with bilateral lymph node involvement, procedure can be done. Radical neck dissection plus excision.
No, not lymph nodal involvement. You know, not lymph nodal involvement. Less than 2 centimeters, if the malignancy is there, and especially papillary carcinoma, and if it has not invaded the capsule, it has not gone beyond it, then all these initial malignancies less than 2 centimeters can be selected in for doing thyroid. I mean, the gradually, this is a very new procedure. Gradually, the papers are coming up with this approach to be used even for malignancies which are less than 2 centimeters.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next we have Dr. Abhishek Katakwar from Hyderabad. Abhishek,
Yes.
sir, please your mic.
Good evening,
Hello.
Abhishek.
Sir,
Good evening, Abhishek.
And this is also my first. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Abhishek, very well.
So I always wanted to see this approach because I've seen few transaxial approach, but I really like this idea. I have two questions for you.
Yes.
And my first question is, do you use any thromboprophylaxis for any of your patients?
No, Abhishek, no.
Okay. And the second,
the patients are ambulatory, right? From the next day, they are going to move. I do not use thromboprophylaxis for my patients.
Because Hello.
Yes, Abhishek.
You know why this question came into my mind, because you're working in a space where there'll be a lot of pressure.
Yes.
Because of CO2 in circulation.
No, there is no lot of pressure. The pressure is only up to 6 millimeter of mercury.
Yeah, I've seen that you maintain the pressure for 6.
Yes.
And is there any report of any because the carotids are very close? So I just wanted to know, with this much of pressure, is there any effect on the carotids or anything like that?
No, the pressure is not much, Abhishek. It's 6 millimeters, and on the contrary, what we do is to additional have some more space. Is we just give 2 stitch. One is just above this suprasternal notch, and 1 stitch just above the cricoid on the skin, and we just lift it like lapro lift. We just lift it.
Okay.
So that we can have some additional space. But then there is no question of any pressure over the carotid, but then if you injure some vessels, there are always some chances of thromboembolism.
Okay. And do you use any hemoclips or Liga clips for? no stresses, or you always use LigaSure?
Absolutely not. I mean, we have such wonderful, wonderful devices now, energy devices. This LigaSure, Harmonic, absolutely, they take care of the superior polar vessels, inferior polar vessels very well, very well. Absolutely no need of clipping anywhere.
Yeah, like you, I'm also a LigaSure fan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Most
Thank
welcome.
you, Dr.
Most welcome, Abhishek.
So next we
Next
have
question,
Dr.
Yogesh.
Yeah, Dr. Hemant Matre. Please unmute
Yeah.
your mic, Dr. Hemant.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening, Hemant.
Am I audible? Good evening. Good
Yes,
evening,
yes,
sir.
you are
Yeah.
very much audible, Dr. Hemant.
Hello. Good evening, Raj sir. Good evening, Rajesh sir. And good evening, Yogesh. I am Hemant from Yavatmal. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Sir, there are a few questions from my side.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
First
yes,
is
go ahead.
nasal intubation is must or not, or it can be done by oral intubation?
No, it can be done by oral intubation also, Hemant. But then, you know,
sir.
our instruments are there, the ports are there, and additional tube is there. So it becomes a little bit cumbersome. But it is not so that you cannot do with oral intubation. But just we want the oral cavity to be totally free, and even the anesthetic is not there. The tube is there. We use a flexo metallic tube so that the anesthesia and the Boyle's apparatus, everything is much away from here, because you're all on the head end. You need a space, and there your cameraman is there, you know, and all the surgeons, your second assistant is there. So we need a oral cavity free from any gadgets. Therefore, we do not advocate an oral intubation. We usually do it with nasal intubation, but then it is not so that you cannot do it with oral intubation. You can do it.
Okay. Sir, second question is, you said the indications for this nodes gland enlarged up to the 10 centimeter. If the gland
No,
is
no, not
nine
that is
or
in experienced hands. That is in experienced hands.
Then my question is how to remove this enlarged gland. Hello.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
How to remove this enlarged specimen from this site? Vestibule.
That is what I have told. That if it is more than 5 centimeters, then you can use a transaxillary approach to remove the specimen, right?
Okay.
And if it is less than 5 centimeters, it can be removed by dilating the tract and from the 10 mm port.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Third question is how to treat the seroma formation. If there is post-op seroma formation, how to treat that?
Do nothing. I mean, the treatment of seroma formation, the rule is there. Don't touch the seroma. It will disappear on its own within few weeks. Just convince the patient, counsel the patient.
Can we aspirate externally?
No, no, we do not. We do not aspirate. And that is an unnecessary introduction of the infection. But then, like seromas everywhere are to be treated, it is to be treated in the neck also.
Okay. Are there chances of conversion if there is a torrential bleed?
Yes, yes,
Hello?
certainly. Patient's life is the most important. In case of any bleeding, any mishap, immediately convert.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Most welcome.
Yeah, Dr. Pradeep Arora, sir. Last question now. Dr. Pradeep Arora, sir, please. Pradeep, sir, you're online.
What was the indication? What was the indication of total thyroidectomy in your cases? Hello?
Sir, total thyroidectomy, hello?
Yes, I am with you. I can hear you very clearly. I can hear you very clearly. Yeah.
Yes, total thyroidectomies we have done in patients where there are where the gland is totally involved with multiple nodules. In these cases, only we have done total thyroidectomies, and of course we have left behind some thyroid tissue also. But then these patients usually need thyroid supplementation post-operatively.
Yeah, but then
But
if
I
we
have not
do
done till now. I have not done any case of malignancy.
no, but once we say that we have done total thyroidectomy, the size of the specimen necessarily would be bigger than 5 centimeters. Am I right?
No, it is not. It is not.
It's not
It is
always.
not
So
necessary.
small
If the
thyroids,
gland
you
is
have done
small,
small
you can
thyroid.
do a total thyroidectomy.
For a benign condition, doing total
Yes.
thyroidectomy, with a small thyroid is a rare combination, isn't it?
Absolutely rare combination.
Yeah, is it?
Sir, in this particular surgery, the most important thing is selection of the patient. That is the most important thing.
I will just rush through question because very small, very
Yeah,
little
please
time
go
is
ahead.
left. Second is my observation is in first case, we
Yeah.
could cite external laryngeal nerve. Am I right? In first
the
case,
first
not
case?
in the second one. We could cite external laryngeal nerve. Recurrent you demonstrated, but external laryngeal nerve could also be seen in the first one. Am I right in my observation?
In your first case, yes, it can be seen. It can be seen in the in many of the cases.
In many of the cases. So you
In
make
many
it a
of the
point to say,
videos, even I can demonstrate that. And it is usually inferior before you ligate the superior pole. It lies below the superior pole.
Because you are at great advantage when you are going as compared to open, as far as citing this particular nerve is concerned. Another, I will just quickly go through my questions. Third is that my feeling is, though I never experienced it, but my feeling is that doing left lobe should be more difficult than the right. Am I right in believing that?
No.
Because
No, sir,
your
not
hand, your left hand, you see, doing actively what your right hand is doing, on the right side, your hands are reversed on the other side.
Yes, but
Left
it does
lobe
not
should be
happen
difficult.
so. Sir, I'll tell you something. It is like doing a left-sided hernia and a right-sided hernia.
I see. But there it doesn't make difference because you change the position. You go to other side of the table normally. Yes, laparoscopically it won't make difference. Yes.
Yes, but then I can tell you that is the importance of that top to down view. That is what I have described, and it's an excellent view with a 30-degree telescope. It's an excellent view, and you are in the center. You do not have to travel much distance as compared to transaxillary or axillobreast approach, right? You are damn in the center, and managing the left and right lobe is equally easy for you as compared to right. You can equally do it good on the left side.
Yes. My next question is that you said you remarked that there was transient hypoparathyroidism in 3 cases. Now, how this transient hypoparathyroidism was detected? That is, you routinely do serum calcium, or it was because of carpopedal technique?
No. These patients had carpopedal spasm.
These patients,
we do not do for thyroid surgeries. We do not do parathyroid hormone levels, right? And these patients clinically had carpopedal spasms, and therefore we did their serum calcium. Subsequently, we found it to be normal. Probably this can be a transient hypofunction of parathyroids because of handling, and subsequently they gain their function again.
No, but in most cases you're handling on one side only. The other side is intact. And if even two parathyroids,
in case of total thyroidectomies, you are handling on both the sides.
Yes, in total. So that means that all these cases were in total thyroidectomy instances only. Is it correct?
No. No. It is not so. It is not so. Even on the left hand, the left parathyroids are normal. Probably on right side, if you handle the parathyroids on the right side, then probably there can be some reflex shutdown function of even the left parathyroid. I don't know, but even in our hemithyroidectomy patient also, we had this experience of patient having transient hypoparathyroidism. Clinically, we were able to detect.
Okay.
So, sir, now should I continue, sir? There is one more last request from Dr. Vikas Jain, sir.
Yes, I am free. You can continue for more questions.
Yeah, Vikas, sir, go ahead, please. Vikas, sir.
Sir, just before completing, I want to ask one question.
Yes.
गजबीर सर, आप इतने खुश कैसे रहते हैं ड्यूरिंग द ऑपरेशन ऑल्सो?
You have to
मैंने
keep
आपको
your
भी देखा है, राहटे सर को भी देखा है, इतने ज्यादा रिलैक्स रहते हैं. हाउ डू यू मैनेज?
I don't know. Just be happy in your life, then probably you will be relaxed while doing surgeries. Don't take any stress. कोरोना का स्ट्रेस भी मत लो.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome. Most welcome, Yomi.
Yeah. Sir, it was a very good session. We had nearly 50-55 attendees today, and most of the attendees were online for most of the session. We'll get a detailed report of this. I'll send you that, how many people have attended and all those things. So
Sure.
thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful presentation. I'll just request our panelists to give concluding remarks.
Hello.
And then we'll,
Hello.
Yeah. Ratesh sir and Gupta sir, please give your concluding
Yeah,
remarks.
Yogesh, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I would wish to thank Dr. Subodh Gupta sir, Dr. Atish Bansod, Dr. Prashant Rahate, the chairpersons, and thank you so much. It was a nice session interacting with you.
I think it was a pleasure for everybody to be part of this. I must thank all the organizers and Dr. Raj Gajbia for a very crisp presentation.
Thank you, Gupta sir. Thank you, Gajbia sir. Thank you, Prashant Rahate sir. So I'll switch off the session now, sir.
Sure, sure. Thank you and bye-bye and good night.
Yeah, good night, sir. Yeah.
Good night.